the African Transformation Movement is concerned. This is about the number of unclaimed and unidentified bodies in state mortuaries. KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the Eastern Cape, have the highest number of bodies that have yet to be claimed. Joining us right now to tell us a bit more about this is Zama Ntshona, who is the ATM spokesperson. Zama, good to have you on the program this afternoon. Firstly, can you start by giving us the numbers or the stats regarding these unclaimed bodies in South Africa's mortuaries and what they signify about our current systems?
Thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to greet you and the viewers. Well, the status quo right now reflects that we have about 3,186 individuals who have not been claimed. And with the KZN and Eastern Cape, as you have rightfully pointed out, being the biggest provinces that account for the biggest number of that. Now, this is a basic identification problem, which you feel that we should be able to do, or we should be able to take care of it. Because the assumption would be these individuals, if they are South African, or they are of South African origin and have identity documents, then which means that their fingerprints we will be able to trace them if we were to use just a basic fingerprint scanning mechanism. So for us as the African Transformation Movement, when we are not able to do that, it actually could mean a number of things. And one of them would be that our systems are not able to deal with the challenges that we are faced with. The other mechanism that could have been used would have been DNA. And with the backdrop of the COVID-19 phenomenon, which saw us being able to make determination of hundreds of thousands of people in a space of days, it shouldn't be an issue, this issue of identification. So for us as the African Transformation Movement, we just believe that there is no political will to actually deal with this issue, and that there seems to be no systems in place that are functional to actually deal with the problem.
Let's speak about possible solutions now, Zama. Can you explain how advanced ID methods such as DNA profiling and possibly biometric scanning, how can these be used to effectively aid in resolving some of these issues?
Thank you so much. Let's just start with the fingerprint scanning one. This is a basic one where we think that it should be easy to locate individuals within the country. This is basic for anybody who has actually had taken or had applied for an identity document in this country. That individual would have enclosed within the application not only the unique set of prints that that individual has, but also you can actually get where this individual resides, which makes it, in our view, an easier method which would allow for us to be able to track these individuals. If you just take the fingerprint, you have the last address which was recorded. Even if the individual has moved, the people from that vicinity would be able to tell you where the family members are from. And when you move to DNA testing, when we advance to such mechanisms, we're able to trace the next of kins of these individuals, because this individual is not just going to be an isolated individual. These are individuals who are fathers to sons and daughters, mothers to sons and daughters. These are sons and daughters to parents. So you are able, when you have a system in place that is able to give you such information that actually narrows the search to a group of people belonging to a particular family because of the reasons that have been given, that I've given you above. Also, you would know that even in the early stages of development, when one applies for a birth certificate, you will find a mother registered there, you will find a father registered there. So it shouldn't be such a big problem trying to trace, only that there is a challenge that we are faced with, which is a challenge of maybe systems that are not integrated. This is why, as one of the remedies to this problem, we're proposing that there must be a centralized system for missing persons. Now, when you have a centralized system for missing persons who are registered. And also you have a centralized system which is linked to that, which is that of the deceased. So as soon as there is a login of a missing person and you have the database for those who are deceased, you must be able to connect to the two. But because maybe these are only locked within the local sphere, if an individual is moved from the Eastern Cape to Johannesburg and the file is then opened there, there is no connection within the list that we find within the country. But if you have a national list that is centralized, you should be able to deal with the problem. We need a coordination. We need one-stop windows. We need technological advancement so that we are able to deal with this basic right of identity, and also for families to be able to find closure when they have individuals who are missing.
Let's explore another layer now. What role does community engagement play in indeed addressing the problem of unclaimed bodies? And how can local organizations assist in this effort?
Thank you so much. Well, it is important that we also drive a campaign around awareness on the importance of reporting. When an individual is missing, you shouldn't just say, no, they will come back. When there is a prescribed time over that, I think it's about 48 hours without any response, then individuals must be reported. Because if we do not report, then even if a body is found, now, if there is no report, it is very difficult, especially if you do not have functional mechanisms. Now, it's very important that we are able to talk to societies and actually raise the importance of reporting, because at least it points the authorities towards a particular direction. And if you now have this national list and people are reporting this national database that has the biometric scans, that has the fingerprints, that has the DNA, as soon as you are able to report a missing person, we could easily find a link and be able to actually say a person who was missing has now been found because of the working together of the authorities and communities.
The centralized database that you propose, how does the ATM envision that this database for unidentified bodies would function, and who would actually have access to it? Well, at least in your opinion, from what you propose.
Thank you so much. The individuals that, or the players that we see in the space right now, you see, you have the police that are playing an integral role in the space. You have the Department of Health that is playing an integral role also in the space. So we have the Department of Home Affairs as well, that is a player in the space. Those you would say limited to okay, let's say at the bare minimum, those three directorates would have access to this. Amongst those three directorates, they would have to come together and actually be able to put together a workable strategy of how this would work. Because an individual is going to be reported to the police. The police would have to interact amongst other areas with the Department of Health on this matter. The Department of Home Affairs, being the directorate that holds the records for the people of South Africa, would also be another player. So I think between those three directorates, at the very least, that is where we should locate the establishment and the functioning of such a database, so as to allow South Africans to actually find dignity even when they have passed on.
But in what ways can partnerships with local and private mortuaries, how would it enhance the management of unclaimed bodies?
Thank you so much. Now, you are going to have these individuals in state mortuaries, and some you will find them in fact, you find them by the majority in state mortuaries. But it's very important so to have private-public partnerships, so as to learn from each other on how we can actually deal with such mechanisms. You may find out that we are looking for a solution to a problem that has already been solved by some players within the space. And also, sometimes coming together can afford us an opportunity that we're able to engage on these matters and be able to find a meaningful solution that would allow us to actually restore the dignity of individuals. It is truly a pain that some of the people in this country, majority of the people in this country, when they were alive, they were subjected to below par service delivery, and even after, in the afterlife, they still find themselves not being able to find the dignity that should have been restored. You would remember that we fought so hard to reunite people who should have been with their fathers, but their fathers were not found in the previous regime. Now, to come in the new dispensation and still find such phenomenon or such occurrences, it is truly something that we could say it is an indictment on our system. So we believe that if you bring together the private sector, the public sector, we could definitely find a solution to the problem at hand.
But what are the key components of the tracking system that you propose, especially for families of missing persons? And I want to better understand how this would operate as well.
All right. The tracking, for starters, we talked about from the registration of a child, which comes with the birth certificate, to the application for an ID document, which will also give us more information about this individual in question. And then we are talking about the logging in of missing persons reports. And we are talking now about DNA collection and the creation of a central database. Now, the tracking system would be able to work if we are able to collect such information, and there is collaboration between the directorates that I have brought forth. And that will then enable us to be able to say, one, who is this individual? Two, where is this individual from? Three, who are the next of kin of this individual? When last was this individual registered in our system as a resident? And at the very least, we'll be able now to use that information to go to the last registered place for that particular individual. You even find in some of these documents that there won't be just one number that is registered. There would be a number that we can always use in times of emergencies, which is enclosed within the directorate already. And if we feel that that information is not enough, even some other documents that we find within our system, whether phone records and others, would be able to give us some kind of a clearer picture of where at the very least we will start to conduct our tracking. And then with that information, we propose then that we go at the very least to the last address that we're able to find, having used the alternative number that is there, and around that vicinity, if that whole house has actually closed down, we should be able to get some kind of information that will lead us to actually being able to find the family and be able to reunite the deceased with their families.